Dai family, and welcome to another special message from the Ancient Ones. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray, family, that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life very much in your own rhythm, in your own cycle, in your own mind, family. And that you're getting away from these hive minds, these group minds, and at least starting to come up with a story that is uniquely yours, that builds you up, that gives you power, that sees you in your highest vibration. Because right now, family, we're in the mental age, which means that the war has moved from the physical to the mental and the spiritual, which is the final frontier. And if you don't have your mind right, family, you're really not going to get your life right. But those are stories for other days. You know, the Ancient Ones wanted me to explain why they are here, and maybe I can even explain how they are here. There are certain Ancient Ones who have come fully, like with their own full body. You know, they've been incarnated as the first mothers, as the first fathers, the primordial beings who have had many lifetimes. If you don't believe in reincarnation, I don't even know why you're watching me, because for many of us here, this is not our first life. We have prepared lifetimes, some of us hundreds of lives, for such a time as this, during this transition period, to be able to make sure that the world makes it, and that enough of our wide variety of human beings, humans actually, the ones who came with the hue, anyway, I'm not going to get too into that, that they also make it. So why did the Ancient Ones come? They came to create the future. Because the future can only be created from memory. Which is why the beings that invaded Mama Earth, Gaia, whatever you want to call her, a form of a great mother. The beings that invaded her, the first thing they went for was her story, was her memory, the memory of the guardians of this world. They hijacked the memory, which shows you that these were mental scientists. They had studied humans like us before. And they hijacked and they poisoned and they whitewashed the memory. And that is why so-called Africans have not been able to find their footing in this new world. Because this new world has erased our memory. And so it has always been prophesied. It has always been talked about how at such a time of this, in the great turning of ages, when the world would look like it's coming to an end, the Ancient Ones would return. The architects of this reality would return so that they could create an alternative code, an alternative pathway for those who did not choose. Because remember, we are in a free will world. It is the free will of those who have refused to bow down to Babylon that called in the Ancient Ones family, that called in our ancestors, that called in the original architects, that called in the Elohim, the gods, the great spiritual mothers. Because their free will said, no, we don't want to become slaves in Babylon. We do not give our free will to be controlled by robots. We do not want to become transhuman. We reject that. We refuse that. And because of the free will, that rejection of the Babylon reality is what created a portal, because of the fabric of this world, to ensure that a rescue mission would be launched, that an alternative had to be made way for. And Babylon has been trying to tamper with that narrative by keeping people unconscious and just, throwing out all their spell work into the minds of people through movies, through TVs, and making people create their world subconsciously without even knowing. But it is the cries of our ancestors, be it those who were colonized, be it those who were enslaved, who said, we reject this invasion of our soul, of our spirit, and our mind, that called in the ancient ones. And the ancient ones are here to help us write a new future. And the most dangerous thing in the hands of Babylon right now, in the hands of the Matrix, whatever you want to call them, is the mind of the oppressed. There is an ongoing rescue mission, family, spiritually and mentally. The ancient ones are trying to put codes in us, trying to activate codes in us that will chart a different, pathway and put us onto that pathway. And so when I use code words like the narrative, it's to awaken your mind to the fact that this is all a story and we are in the wrong story. And the ancient ones are here to put us back into the correct story, because for a lot of us, the memory was erased and our DNA was shut down through diet, through miseducation, through misspirituality, or whatever I don't even know how to put it. The hijacking of our minds and then our way of life, and then reversing that. Because you see, before it was the mind that became the vehicle of the body, but they've turned the world back to front and upside down, where now the mind thinks it is the body. And the body is what is controlling everything, because the body talks too much. It wants to eat. It wants to do this. It wants pleasure. And the body has been so empowered because we were in a fight or flight generation, that the mind has become weak. And even the mental and spiritual science that is being used by our people. I was having this conversation with a friend of mine about how a lot of the witchcraft and juju and hoodoo that is being used against each other now to steal stars, to steal destinies, death magic, barrenness magic, obesity magic, all the nonsense that people are doing now. That negative form of magic was there to fight the enemy. It was there for a season, but we remained there. Errol, we remained there. Of course, he's wanting to bite, a shell from the tree. Hey, Errol. And so, family, the ancient ones are there, and they're here spiritually. So if you get to a certain vibration, you can tap into them. They're here. Some of them are here fully, like incarnated gods, incarnated architects, incarnated ancient ones. And they're just now being awakened by their galactic and celestial families. And some, it's the spirit that is back because we've started talking about them again. So if you look at how much the gods of Egypt are making a comeback, Sekhmet, Sobek, Anubis, Isis, Ma'at, because now those stories are being shared again. And more of our people are connecting with those stories. Now the whole whitewashing has faded away. So if you are an ancient one, we are here to remember so that we can write our ancient future. Because the future is created by memory. The future is created by the past. And the past we want to take, we want to take a quantum leap. Because this is the lowest of the low we've ever been, family. Some can say it was an experiment. Some can say we were hijacked and we're fighting. Whatever the story, we let this happen so we could learn. Whatever the story, it's time up for that. We are here to create our ancient future. And that's why we need to remember. And that's why we have to go back into ourselves, into our spiritual ways, and really make a spiritual way of life the way of life. Because for you who are ancient ones returned, it's time to awaken and to come fully online and to remember what life was like. The technologies we had that built the pyramids. Because we've regressed, and a lot of the technology that they're using now with the cars and all of that are things that we had invented before we even hit our peak. And so we are here to remember our ancient past so that we can bring that ancient past into our future. Because that is the alternative our people have chosen. Through our free will, our people have rejected the New World Order and the story of Babylon. But of course, Babylon has played so dirty by making many of our people weak-minded, ignorant, unaware, unconscious, literally. But the great thing is, like, we are a group consciousness. We are one. So the awakening of one affects the all. We don't need everyone to awaken for the melanated nation to be saved. But we do need some to awaken. And it will affect the whole, and reality will change in a twinkle of an eye. We give thanks and praise to the ancestors, to the ancient ones, to the guardian angels, to Maito, and all those who walk with us at such a time as this. Stay uplifted, family. Stay in your highest, calmest mind, and you'll be all right. Tuko pamoja.